You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin. I smelled like diesel and sweat most nights, dragging myself through the front door around 1 in the morning. My back would be wrecked from crawling around in attics fixing busted HVACs all day, and my legs would still buzz from driving a tow truck half the night, through back roads and highways, across 3 damn counties. I'd drop my boots at the door, step over unpaid bills, and find her, Lacey, passed out at the dining table, pen still in hand, highlighters scattered like confetti. "Almost there, babe," she'd mumble without even lifting her head. We lived in a rotting duplex on the edge of East Cleveland, mold in the shower, raccoons in the attic, and the kind of cold that crawled into your bones in February. But none of it mattered to me. I was building something, or I thought I was. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. My name's Marcus, I'm 31, I live in Ohio. Everything I earned went toward her law school, tuition, books, printer ink, gas money for unpaid internships. I even sold my old bass guitar when she needed a new laptop. Didn't think twice. I figured we were in it together. I did the grunt work, kept the lights on, and she'd be the one to break us out. Get the degree, land the job, change everything. But over time, things shifted. She stopped asking how my day was. She started getting irritated when I said we instead of you. I chalked it up to stress. Exams, late nights, pressure. I didn't push, I just kept going. There was this night I came home soaking wet, had to tow a Dodge out of a creek in the middle of a thunderstorm, walked into the kitchen dripping mud, exhausted. She looked up, saw me, and just said, "Do you have to be so loud?" Didn't even ask if I was okay. Still, when she passed the bar, I was proud. I bought a $10 bottle of champagne and made grilled cheese in the microwave because the stove was shot again. She cried when she saw the email with her results. Real tears. Hugged me and said, "We did it." I cried too, but not for the same reason. I didn't feel joy. I felt like something inside me had cracked open, and I couldn't explain why. I just knew it wasn't over. It was the beginning of the end. It was a Tuesday. I remember because I was running on fumes and swearing at Tuesday traffic the whole way back. 16 hours of pure hell, crawling under a double-wide trailer in 90-degree heat, then pulling a totaled Ford Explorer out of a ditch in rural Lorain County. My knuckles were torn up, my shirt smelled like transmission fluid, and the only thing keeping me upright was the thought of surprising Lacey. I had a pink box of donuts in one hand and a card in the other. Card said, "Proud of you, counselor." Inside, I'd written, "You did it. We did it. Let's breathe now." I stepped inside and knew something was off before I even shut the door. The house, silent, clean. I mean, freakishly clean, like someone had wiped every surface twice and lit candles for a magazine shoot. There was soft music playing, some instrumental jazz crap she never listened to before. And on the table, next to a fresh leather briefcase, sat a tan folder with a silver clip on top. Lacey was standing at the counter, gray skirt suit tight on her, like she'd just walked out of a billboard, wine glass in one hand, phone in the other, not even pretending to be surprised. "You're just in time," she said, like she was reading a damn script. I blinked. "Time for what?" She tilted her head toward the folder. "Go ahead. Take a look." I set the donuts and card down next to the briefcase. My fingers felt numb before I even touched the thing. Typed, signed, dated 2 days ago. Separation agreement. I looked up. "What the hell is this?" She didn't flinch. "I'm moving out at the end of the week." "Or you are. Doesn't matter. It's done." "Done," I said, louder than I meant to. "You didn't say a word. Not one word." I didn't want to fight. She took a sip of wine like we were discussing weather. "It's not working. I've outgrown this life." My throat went dry. "You outgrew me. You're stuck, Marcus. You've been stuck." She waved her hand at the donuts. "This, the card. It's sweet, but it's small. Everything about you is small." I was still standing there like a jackass, sweat drying cold on my back, grease on my hands, and all I could think was, "This is real. This is actually happening." Then came the final punch. Marla walked out from the kitchen, hair curled, lipstick perfect, holding a second glass of wine like she owned the damn place. She smirked at me, then clinked her glass against Lacey's. "To new beginnings," Marla said. I stared at them, dumb as a rock. "You planned this." Lacey shrugged. You were never going to see it. You never looked up from your tools. I took a step back. You used me. I worked my ass off to get you here. And now I'm here, she said, voice sharp. I need room to grow, and you're just static. That word, static, like I was background noise. I grabbed the card and crushed it in my fist. The donuts were still warm, steam fogging the plastic window of the box. I picked them up and held them in both hands, not knowing what the hell to do with them. You know what? I said. I missed sleep, meals, birthdays. I broke my damn back for this team. And you torched it. For what? A wine night with your gossip goblin. Marla scoffed, but I didn't look at her. I locked eyes with Lacey, hoping to see something. Guilt, regret, maybe even fear. But she was empty. Already gone. You made your choice, I said. Just remember that. She crossed her arms, lips pressed tight. I already have. I turned without another word, slammed the door behind me hard enough to rattle the glass. I made it halfway down the front walk before I realized I was still holding the box of donuts. I tossed it in the trash. Didn't even care when the whole thing exploded on the sidewalk. I didn't sleep. I didn't sit. I just walked straight into the bedroom, grabbed the biggest duffel bag we had, and started packing like the walls were on fire. Work boots, jeans, tool belt, my grandpa's old socket set. I filled another box with random keepsakes, concert stubs, a photo strip from the fair, her first handwritten good luck note from law school. Stuff I couldn't throw out even if I wanted to. The whole time, the house felt too quiet. No fights, no begging. Just her mom sitting on the porch with a gin and tonic, legs crossed, grinning like a cat in a damn sunbeam. She raised her glass as I walked past with the first load. Told her she could do better, she said, loud enough for the neighbors. I didn't even blink, just kept moving. Second trip, third. My hands were shaking by the time I zipped up the last bag. I slammed the trunk shut. Got in. Key turned, engine fired. I didn't look back. The porch light glowed like nothing had changed. Her car was still in the driveway, the curtains still open in the front window, the diploma framed and leaning against the wall, waiting to be hung. I hit the gas. 1 mile out, I stopped at a red light near the high school, looked in the rear view, and caught it, her silhouette in the second floor window. She tossed her cap in the air, laughing like it was graduation day. My hands gripped the wheels so tight my knuckles cracked. I drove through 2 counties that night, no destination. Just one long blur of billboards, headlights, and gas station lights humming in the dark. No radio, just the hum of the tires and the sound of my jaw grinding together. Gas ran low around 4 a.m. Pulled into a truck stop, filled the tank, stared at the vending machines, and didn't buy a thing. That's when my phone lit up. Vince, 9 missed calls, voicemail, 3 new. I let it sit, buzzed again. Same name. Again, then another, 20, 30, 40. I finally turned the damn thing over so I didn't have to see it, but I knew what he'd say. Come stay with me, man. She's not worth this. Don't disappear like Dad did. I didn't want comfort. I didn't want advice. I wanted out. I kept driving. Past diners I'd eaten at with her, roads we'd argued on, spots where we'd kissed. Every mile erased something. By sunrise, I didn't recognize anything around me. No exits looked familiar. No landmarks pulled at me. Just empty roads and open sky. I pulled off at a random town for coffee. Sat in the parking lot of a closed pharmacy, watching the sky go from gray to blue. Phone buzzed again. Vince, missed call. I shut it off. No voicemail, no map, no plan. Just me, and the weight of everything she'd never have to carry. I kept the engine running until the fuel gauge blinked red again. Just west of nowhere, somewhere off Route 30, a beat-up sign leaning into the wind read, Ridgeton, population, 1,304. There was a mechanic shop with 2 busted Chevys out front, a gas station with 1 pump and a flickering light, and a diner with chipped red paint that looked like it hadn't been renovated since the 70s. The open sign buzzed weakly in the window. Wally's Cafe. I parked across 2 spaces. Didn't care. Boots hit the ground like anchors. My jeans were stiff from sweat and grease, hands shaking slightly from hunger I'd been ignoring for days. Inside smelled like burnt toast and old bacon grease, the kind of place where the coffee never stopped and the eggs came out whether you asked or not. The man behind the counter had a gut like a barrel and arms like tree trunks, balding, thick mustache, no name tag needed. He looked like a Wally. He glanced up, nodded once, and poured me a coffee without saying a word. Then he slid a plate of scrambled eggs across the counter. "Eat," he said. "You look like hell." I didn't argue, didn't ask how much, just nodded and dug in like it was the last meal I'd ever get. It tasted like salt and grease and something close to comfort. A few stools down, an older guy with a Carhartt cap and sunburned neck pointed his fork toward me. "Lumberyard off County 6 is hiring. Just lost a guy to a roofing gig in Akron." I wiped my mouth on a napkin. "They pay under the table." Wally snorted. "This whole damn town pays under the table." That afternoon, I drove out there in my busted truck, engine coughing through every turn, told the foreman I had strong arms and no expectations. He looked me over, said, "You start now." By sundown, I had a room above the cafe, one window, one single bed with springs that groaned when I sat on it, a faucet that dripped every 4 seconds like clockwork. But no photos on the wall, no framed degrees, no one telling me I wasn't enough. It was quiet. I laid down with my boots still on and stared at the ceiling until the crack in the plaster started to blur. Then I blinked, and it was morning. Next morning, I was hauling plywood by 7. The lumber yard didn't care who I was or where I came from. They just pointed, grunted, and expected the job done by sundown. I didn't mind. My hands stayed busy, my back stayed sore, and the silence in my head finally showed some cracks. After shifts, I'd swing by the diner, patch whatever was breaking. Bathroom door hinge, loose wiring by the pie case, leaky pipe under the sink. Wally never asked. He'd just grunt, pour another cup of coffee, and slide it toward me without a word. It became routine. And for the first time in a long time, routine didn't feel like drowning. One evening, I spotted a rusted-out Honda Shadow chained behind the mechanic shop, covered in leaves and the bad decisions. Looked like it hadn't been touched in years. I asked the owner about it. He said, "If you can fix it, it's yours." That bike became my therapy. I'd work on it after dinner, scraping off rust, pulling it apart bolt by bolt. Got grease under my nails again. The kind of grease that meant something, not survival, purpose. Wally started dropping off old parts, said he. Found them lying around, but I knew he was helping, just didn't want to say it out loud. One night, after I replaced the throttle and rewired the damn starter myself, he came out back with something in his hand, tossed me a key. "Upstairs is yours now," he said, nodding toward the outside stairwell. "Don't burn it down." I didn't say anything for a second, just stared at the key in my hand. It was the same room, same squeaky bed, same dripping faucet, but now it was mine. No lease, no debt, no conditions. I fixed the faucet first, then the bed frame, hung up an old pegboard and mounted the tools I'd carried through counties, cleaned the floor, scrubbed the windows. Didn't realize until later I'd stopped pacing, stopped waking up expecting the floor to drop out. The ache in my chest was still there, sure, but it wasn't sharp anymore. It was dull, bearable. I'd breathe in sawdust and sweat by day, breathe out something close to peace at night, and I started sleeping through. I was replacing a cracked bulb on the diner's awning when the rusted-out Subaru coughed its way into town like it barely wanted to live. It parked crooked in front of the gas station, back bumper held on by zip ties and a dream. She stepped out wearing combat boots, a baggy flannel, and a camera strap slung across her chest. Hair in a messy knot, no makeup, eyes scanning everything like she was collecting it. Charlotte. Didn't know her name yet, just knew she didn't match anything here. I kept working, ignoring the sound of her boots crossing the street. "You always this serious?" she asked, aiming the lens toward the diner sign. "Only when I'm on a ladder," I said without looking down. She laughed. Not polite, not fake. It landed easy. "I'm Charlotte." Photographer. I chase small towns and broken things. I tightened the last screw and climbed down. "Congrats, you found both." She grinned. "Can I take your photo?" "Nope." "Why not?" "Because I said no." Next morning, she was back. Sat at the counter with Wally like she'd been doing it for years. Ordered black coffee and a cinnamon roll, then wandered outside again when I started repainting the trim. She lifted the camera. I raised my hand. Still no. By day 3, she stopped asking, started hanging around instead, took shots of cracked windows, oil puddles, rusted mailboxes. She'd walk beside me while I swept the sidewalk or refilled salt shakers. Didn't ask anything too deep, just enough to keep the quiet from turning heavy. One afternoon, I found her crouched near the back alley, photographing rainwater in a tire rut. "You make that look like art," I said. She looked up. "Everything's art. Most people just don't slow down long enough to see it." I don't know why that hit me, but it did. I showed her the bike the next day, still half torn apart, wires hanging like veins. "Is it yours?" she asked. "Wasn't," I said. "Kind of is now." She ran her fingers over the seat like it meant something. "It's beautiful." It wasn't, but maybe it would be. That night, she showed me her photos. Real stuff. Grainy, raw shots of diners in Montana, gas pumps in Nebraska, a homeless man laughing beside a dumpster. Her lens didn't flinch, neither did she. Over the next few weeks, her coffee lasted longer. Her camera came out less. She started sitting across from me at lunch, sometimes beside me. We'd talk about things that didn't matter: weather, songs we hated, what fast food chain had the worst fries. But it always felt like it meant something. Her laugh didn't sound like anything I had to earn. It just came, like muscle memory. One night, I found her standing under the busted street lamp outside the cafe, camera slung behind her, eyes fixed on the horizon like it owed her an answer. I walked up beside her, hands in my pockets. "I was married," I said. She didn't say anything, just kept looking forward. She left me after she passed the bar, said I was too small for the life she wanted. I didn't even realize my hands were shaking until I felt the cold air hit my knuckles. She planned it, waited till I was spent, then dropped the papers like it was business. Still no words. I drove until I couldn't feel anything. Ended up here. Finally, she turned to me. No shock, no pity, just stillness. Then she reached out, took my hand, held it like it was the easiest thing in the world. And I let her. After that night under the street lamp, things didn't get louder. They got steady. I spent my mornings building furniture out of scrap wood, chairs with uneven legs, tables made from old doors, stuff that looked rough but held together. People in town started noticing. One woman paid me $30 for a shelf I made out of crate wood, said it had soul. Afternoons, I fixed fences around town, loose boards, sagging gates, busted latches. Charlotte tagged along sometimes, snapping photos of barn nails and flaking paint like they were worth framing. While I pieced things together in Ridgeton, Lacey's perfect world started cracking. Marla bailed first. Packed up in the middle of the night, left behind half a rent payment, an empty vodka handle, and 3 wigs in the bathroom sink. The law job wasn't what she thought. Long hours, no praise, office politics sharp enough to bleed. Partners didn't care about her degree. They cared about billable hours. She gave them everything and still stayed invisible. Her mother stopped coming around, said she was disappointed in the lack of progress. That's how she put it, like Lacey was an investment not earning returns. The likes on her bar exam post dried up. Nobody asked about her new apartment. Nobody cared what firm she was with. One night, she opened an old laptop and scrolled through photos. College stuff, road trips, blurry nights with plastic cups in hand. Then she hit one, me and her, first apartment keys in hand, grinning like we had the whole world ahead of us. That's when she started calling. Old friends first. Ones she cut off when she got her internship. They didn't answer. Then Vince. Called him 3 times, left voicemails. Tell him I'm sorry. Tell him I made a mistake. He didn't respond. She tried numbers that didn't even exist anymore. Burner phones, canceled plans. I hadn't just left. I'd erased the trail behind me. No LinkedIn, no socials, nothing. She found the diner's Facebook page. Probably hoped to see my name in a tag or a comment. She messaged it. Wally's niece helps run it. She saw the name, showed it to me, and asked what to do. I said, delete it. So she did. Dead end. That was the thing about ghosts. They think they can drift back into your life whenever they want. But I wasn't the one who disappeared. She was. I was wiping grease off my hands when I saw my phone light up again. Same unknown number, again and again. Over 100 missed calls stacked up like a wall I didn't ask for. It buzzed so long, I finally caved and called back, just to shut it up. 1 ring, 2. Then her voice hit me. Marcus, cracked, desperate. I made a mistake. It didn't sound like the woman who stood in front of me in a suit and told me I was static. It sounded like someone drowning. I miss you, she choked out. Everything's gone. Marla left. Mom doesn't speak to me. Work's a mess. I can't sleep. She kept going, talking fast like if she stopped, the silence would finish her off. I thought I wanted more. I thought I needed to grow. But I was wrong. You were the only solid thing I ever had. Please, please let me fix it. I can come there. We can start over, fresh. I didn't say a word. Not because I didn't have any. Because none of what I had was for her anymore. I let her talk until her voice cracked, until the begging turned into quiet sobs. And then I said it. I'm not that man anymore. No anger, no bitterness, just truth. There was a pause, a long, hollow one. Like my words had knocked the wind straight out of her. She sniffed hard. You don't mean that. I didn't answer. She tried again. Marcus, please. You loved me. You loved me. I did, I said. That version of me did. But he's gone. She went quiet again. Then the line filled with this low, broken whimper that sounded like a cut she didn't expect to bleed. I hit end call. Deliberate. Clean. The screen went black. Charlotte was already sitting across from me, at our usual booth near the window. She didn't ask who it was. She already knew. Her eyes didn't pry. Her body didn't tense. She just sat there, patient, letting me have the silence. And then, slow, gentle, she reached across the table and took my hand. I let her. Not because I needed saving, because this time, I didn't have to explain myself. Saturday morning hit with thunder. Rain hammered the diner roof like it was trying to peel it off. We were packed, locals shoulder to shoulder, boots dripping near the door, Wally cursing the leaky coffee machine while I restocked shelves near the back pantry. Charlotte sat at the counter with her camera in her lap, flipping through black and white prints she'd developed the night before. The bell above the door clanged too hard. I turned. Wind tore through the room, dragging rain with it, and there she was. Lacy soaked through, shaking, hair plastered to her face, makeup smeared like she'd been crying for hours, maybe days. She wasn't wearing a coat, just a wrinkled white blouse stuck to her skin, sleeves rolled halfway, eyes wide like she didn't know where the hell she was. Conversation stopped. Forks froze halfway to mouths. Wally stepped out from the kitchen and leaned on the counter like he knew something big was about to break. She looked right at me, didn't blink, didn't speak. Then she walked to the middle of the room, rain pooling around her heels, and dropped to her knees. Marcus, she said, voice cracking. Please. People glanced at each other, unsure whether to move or stay frozen. But no one spoke. I was wrong, she said. I was so damn wrong. Her hands trembled as she reached out like she could physically pull the past back. I lost everything. I tried to fix it. I tried to find you. I didn't know where else to go. I didn't move, didn't speak. She sobbed harder, hands hitting the floor. Please, just listen. Give me something. I don't care what it is. Charlotte sat still, calm. She didn't flinch, didn't gloat, didn't react at all, just watched, steady as ever. I stepped out from behind the pantry shelf, walked slowly across the room. The diner felt like a theater. Every eye locked on us, holding breath. I stopped a few feet from Lacy. Her chest heaved like she'd run miles to get there. Then I knelt. Just for a second. Just enough to meet her at eye level. You taught me how to disappear, I said. Now you'll learn what that feels like. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I stood up, walked past her, straight to Charlotte, took her hand in front of everyone, kissed it, simple and clear. No show, no anger, just truth. Behind us, Lacy sobbed into the floor, soaked and shaking. I didn't look back, not once. The whole place exhaled. We stepped out into the soft rain, quiet now, just a mist settling over the pavement. Charlotte leaned into me, hand still in mine. The door shut behind us. The storm stayed inside. We didn't leave town that day. Just walked through the rain until we circled behind the diner and stood under the oak tree, the one that split into two thick trunks, like it had its own story to tell. That's where we got married, right there. No tux, no dress, no vows read off index cards. Wally said something halfway resembling a speech, then handed us a slice of pecan pie as a wedding gift. Half the town clapped. The other half was already dancing in the gravel lot. Charlotte smiled like she'd known all along this was how it would end, and maybe she had. I opened the repair shop in a converted barn 2 blocks from the cafe, No sign outside, just an open bay door and the sound of old engines coming back to life. People brought me whatever they had: bikes, broken lawnmowers, busted radios from the 60s. I never turned anything away. Some local teens started hanging around. At first, they just watched, hands in pockets, trying not to care. I tossed one a wrench, told him to loosen the bolts, told another to sweep up the shavings. By the end of the week, they were coming early and staying late. I didn't ask for their stories. They didn't ask for mine. We just worked, and that was enough. Lacey's number still popped up sometimes. Always unknown, always late at night. I never blocked it, didn't need to. I didn't pick up, didn't listen to voicemails. Her name didn't land the way it used to. It didn't echo. It just passed. My life wasn't loud anymore. It was quiet, steady, mine. Some nights, Charlotte and I danced barefoot on the porch, her camera swinging off her shoulder, music crackling out of a busted Bluetooth speaker I couldn't quite get to stop shorting. She'd laugh when it skipped. I'd pretend I meant to spin her off beat. And in those moments, it hit me. I wasn't running, I didn't have to, I was home, and I was free.